Okay, we're live. Welcome back to the I Help Men Dress Better podcast. I am your host, Shlomo Homnick. That's Shlomo Homnick. Today's been a bit of an interesting day, so I'm going to play it a bit light. Today's going to be a rant. So if you're into those sorts of things, tune in. We're here. We're doing it. I have not been able to fall asleep before 2 a.m. the last two nights, and that has absolutely not destroyed me as a human being. I'm not dead inside. Why would I be dead inside? Okay, well, I am dead inside, but not because I didn't sleep. That's something totally unrelated. But yeah, I haven't slept the last 2 days. This morning I went to my weekly networking meeting. Shout out 1MC, 1 Million Cups. So that was really great. Met a lot of wonderful people. And then I had an excellent call with someone who I will be doing some work with, and that went really well, and that was really exciting. But I am really beat, and so I'm going to talk about a topic that came up in a few posts that I made recently, and I want to talk about it. It's the day. I want to have a kind of a quick podcast, maybe a shorter episode, and talk a little bit about this thing that perturbs me and some thoughts I have. But before that, if you are liking this episode, how could you be liking this episode? It hasn't even started. Nothing's even happened yet. But either way, regardless, smash the like button, hit subscribe, click the bell, get the notifications, whether you're watching this on YouTube or on Spotify. Come on, just like favorite me. Favorite me. Don't you want more of me in your life? And if you don't, well, um but yeah, definitely go do what you got to do to catch each episode. Every episode, I am working on ways to improve the podcast. It's sort of a process. Um, a lot of making the podcast is actually so that I will make improvements over time. So it's only going to get better. At least I hope so. I think so. I believe so. I'm confident. I'm confident based on my experience that it will improve over time. So smash the like button and subscribe now when it's still young. Marry it when it's still young, because who knows what it's going to look like when it's 50. You know, that was weird. Disclaimer: if that offended you, I haven't slept in 2 days, so I'm gonna just take zero accountability for that. Speaking of zero accountability, no. Today I want to talk about something that's come up in my comment section and is honestly a big piece of pushback that I face against what I do on a pretty regular basis. And so it's something that I have had to think a lot about, because I try to take a nuanced approach. Like, I don't think that anything is super black or white. I spend a lot of time in the gray. And so if there is an idea out in the world or a belief that somebody has, I'm not very quick to just dismiss it as stupid or unfounded. I mean, I want to. I'm not going to pretend that my mind doesn't go there, which is actually very on topic, because one of those things that perturbs me is I get a lot of comments like, I don't judge a book by its cover, right? As if it's kind of touted as if there's this like moral superiority. And I think that that's me maybe looking at it in a crueler light. We're going to start there, because that is, I think, one of the problems that we run into. So my immediate reaction to hearing "don't judge a book by its cover" is exactly that. Obnoxious voice, just like, "Oh, I'm better than you because you're judgmental and concerned with your appearance, and you're vain and shallow, and you're just trying to make people feel bad about themselves. But I'm such a special, amazing person, and I'm so good. You know, me and God, we're tight, um, because I don't judge people, because that would be bad and mean and wrong." So it's funny, because like that is my initial interpretation of that thing. Does that mean that that is my final interpretation of that thing? No. which is exactly what not judging a book by its cover means. So the while not, don't judge a book by its cover is definitely a quality maybe to aspire to. It is not so clear cut that it is A, good advice, B, widely applicable, and C, representative of a higher morality. People consciously and unconsciously communicate about themselves through the way that they show up. So we have to make decisions about who we're going to associate ourselves with. And that's not meant to be cruel. It is meant to be pragmatic, might be the word. If I only have X amount of time on this earth, I would like to spend it with people who I enjoy spending that time with, right? People who are going to love and support me, people who are going to be on a similar wavelength to me, people who are, that I'm going to get along with. And so there are certain criteria that I'm going to look for. When I meet someone, based on their cover, I'm going to get an initial analysis of the likelihood that they are going to be aligned with me. Now, because I don't have infinite time and energy, I then get to decide if I'm going to take the time to get to know them. Now, if somebody really doesn't impress me, then I might not take the time to get to know them. So while I'm not going to walk around thinking they're a terrible person forever, I am going to ignore them as a prospect for whatever it is in my life, be it friendship or partnership. Now, if I keep running into this person and I have a lot of time with them and I realize that they're, as I get to know them, they're different than my initial reaction, then it is incumbent upon me to change my initial reaction and nuance it with the new information. That would be the correct application of don't judge a book by its cover, right? So now I can look at this statement and see, don't judge a book by its cover. I'm judging it by its cover. I think it is obnoxious. And then I can take the steps forward to think, okay, when might this be true? When might this not be true? What is this person doing? I can ascribe negativity to this person and say that they are trying to signal their virtue and try to write me off as a judgmental, terrible person. Or I can say, or I can try to find some sort of favorable explanation. Now, because I am looking for prospects for business, and because I am looking for like minded people, and because like minded people do not think in this sort of two-dimensional way, for me, when I get the statement, don't judge a book by its cover, I will judge that statement by its cover and say, this person probably isn't for me. I'm not going to find out if maybe they're a client because they're not the best use of my time. And that is really the danger of using don't judge a book by its cover as an excuse not to tailor your persona, not to tailor the way that you present yourself in the world. So just because you should not draw finalized conclusions based on somebody's cover, you should absolutely try to make informed decisions based on what people are telling you. You can assume to a certain degree that people are telling you the truth about themselves, and that includes what they tell you through the way they dress, as well as what they say. So, if the way that people show up says something about them, if that isn't true, it is incumbent upon them to realign their image with their truth. Otherwise, they are lying. So there are two sides. There is me judging the book by its cover, and there is them putting on a cover that does not represent their book. I definitely have more thoughts on this. I said I was going to keep this episode a bit shorter. But yeah, that was a topic that I really wanted to talk about. I think it dips into another topic that I think I'd like to cover in the future and write some posts about the difference between people pleasing pleasing and being pleasant. I get a lot of comments about, well, I don't owe anyone anything, and I don't dress for other people, or I don't care what people think. And while I do think that there is some merit to that in certain situations, kind of like the don't judge a book by its cover, I think there is a more nuanced discussion to be had. So, yeah, let me know in the comments what you think of that topic, what your thoughts are on the topic of not judging a book by its cover. I want to hear what you have to say. And I'm curious what your thoughts are as well on the nuance between not caring what people think and trying to be pleasant, trying to be someone who people enjoy being around. Because I do want to talk more about that. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Once again, if you enjoyed this, if you got any benefit from it, please check out the other episodes. There's a number of different topics. I talk about a lot of things related to men's style, not just actually practical advice, but a lot of the mindset and psychology that goes into it, because I really do believe that style is, in a large part, a very critical piece of self-development. And so it has a lot of fundamental truths and self-development qualities ingrained in it. Once again, like, comment, subscribe. If you want to connect with me, go find me on LinkedIn, although my LinkedIn account is down today, but it will probably be back up by the time you listen to this episode. That's just me griping about the fact that LinkedIn took my account down for no reason, and their persona software is giving me lots of trouble. But I will get back in soon, and that is where you can find me. Shlomo Homnick, bright pink banner, fuchsia banner. You can't miss it. Send me a connection request. It's always best if you send a note with that connection request so that I know that you found me on the podcast and that you found it interesting. And yeah, I'd love to connect with you, and you can find some of my other content there as well. So you have a wonderful day, and I will see you next week.